Good morning, Barstow, and welcome to BTVN. I'm Bailey Childers. Today we have a fun show including what the Maquis students have been doing at Barstow this week, a recap of the first grade field trip, and we'll keep you up to date with all the news and information you need to be happy and content on this fine Wednesday morning. All this and a special guest right after the intro.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Gannon. Here joined with us today is Corinne. So, how's your trip been so far?
I went to art fair on Sunday and I ate a lot of food. I ate hamburgers, I ate pizza.
Is there anything you're particularly excited about coming up?
I'm looking forward for the 5K this weekend.
It's gonna be awesome. In addition to that, the sophomores enjoyed a lesson on Japanese history and culture from the visiting faculty of the Maquis School in Japan.
Very cool. So Karin, do you want to start us off with some announcements?
Sure. There are still volunteers needed for the 5K this Saturday. Here is Mrs. Culver with more information.
Still looking for many upper school volunteers for the 5K. I still need some for medals and water bottles after the race, and the kids run is my big one. I need lots of volunteers for the kids run to help them get from station to station. So check the Google Docs so you know what time, and then you can contact me at meganculver@barstowschool.org.
Thanks, Mrs. Culver. There's a heifer chaperone meeting today after school at 3:30 p.m. Also, middle school night at the races is from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight in the varsity gym.
You know, after all this news, I'm in the mood for a story. What about you, Corinne?
I agree. Drake caught up with Dr. Kramer with just that. Roll it.
Hi, I was asked to tell a story about Barstow, and the one I have today is about a teacher that used to work here. His name was Robert Demerit. Once upon a time, as all good stories start, I was out in the upper school commons, and Mr. Demerit was just leaving his classroom. There were a few students out in the commons, and it was just a day like any other. Now, Mr. Demerit also noticed the students sitting in the commons, and he decided to make their day just a little bit better. So when he left his classroom, he started hopping from one foot to the other, kind of dancing his way across the carpet. Now keep in mind, Mr. Demerit was a fairly distinguished looking fellow. He always wore a bow tie, and he could be pretty serious if he wanted to. So it was a little strange to see him hopping from one foot to the other throughout the upper school commons. Finally, the students had to ask. They asked, "Mr. Demerit, what are you doing?" And Mr. Demerit said in a very solemn tone that he was trying to avoid the lava, and he was trying to make sure he didn't burn up. The students looked at him a little strangely, and he wasn't going to make it easy for them. He didn't smile or laugh, but eventually they just started cracking up. And this really made an impression upon me. Mr. Demerit had walked out of his room thousands of times in his life. He taught at the Barstow School for 26 years. He taught Chinese and Japanese and history, and he probably was just going to the copier or going to the office like he always had, but he decided, I'm going to crack these students up, and he did. They really started laughing, and then he finally cracked a smile and proceeded to hop along his merry way. So the story stuck with me because here's a guy who was probably busy, probably had a lot on his mind, but he took just a little bit out of his time to make somebody else's day better. And that's not just a good teacher, that's just a good guy.
Thanks, Drake. In sports news, cross country competed amongst hundreds of runners in the Southern Stampede. Leading the way for girls was Lauren Hendrickson, and for the boys, Tommy Langdon. Soccer defeated Lebanon 3-0 and Van Horn 3-0. Volleyball beat Sherwood 3-0 and Van Horn 3-0. Tennis defeated Lee Summit 8-1. Great job, Knights.
Tomorrow is a super important day. Both volleyball and soccer play Pembroke at home. Here is team captains Shanley and Connor talking more about it.
Hi, I'm Shanley. Who are you?
I'm Connor.
And we have a volleyball game playing Pembroke at 6 o'clock.
And then right afterwards tomorrow at 7, the boys soccer team plays Pembroke at home.
And make sure the theme is Beach Day, so
Everybody should come out and support. It'll be a lot of fun.
Good luck to both sports, and remember to dress up. The theme is Hawaiian/beach. Bailey and Karen, are you guys going to make it out to the games?
I'm gonna try my best.
I wish I could.
I'll definitely be out there taking stats. But moving on.
About 2 weeks ago, the first graders took a field trip to Powell Gardens after their studies in class. Check out my piece about their experience.
The first graders went to Powell Gardens last week on our field trip because we do a comprehensive study of plants and how they grow. And Powell Gardens gives us a hands-on experience for the children to see all kinds of different plants, and they get to plant different ones, and there's a lesson. So it's really just a really fun outing for the kids. The children do planting here at school, and going to Powell Gardens gives them an opportunity to see what a large amount of planting does in our environment, and how commercially how all these fruits and vegetables are grown. When we were on the field trip, there is an actual class that is conducted by one of the on-site teachers at Powell Gardens, and she does an in-depth study of fruits and different vegetables, and the children get to sample some of the fruits and vegetables that they've never had before, and some are quite different, quite exotic. Then they also are able to plant themselves. Each child has a small plant that they plant in the Powell Gardens, one of their garden areas. Then we also have lunch out there, so that's always fun for them. And then we just do a self-guided tour of the grounds and identify all the different plant life that we see. The kids really do enjoy it. You know, it's just fun to have that great big space, and they don't have to be contained, and they can just run and jump and yell. And we had a fabulous day. It wasn't too hot and it wasn't too cold, and their observational skills are just really, really honed, and it's great to see them excited about what they see and wanting to share it with everyone. I think a field trip like this really just encourages the children to be more aware of the world around them, and again, to understand that there are so many different plants in our world, and to appreciate nature as a whole.
Great beef. Hey Bailey, do you remember how chaotic the comments were on Friday?
I actually wasn't here on Friday, but what happened?
Well, the sophomores studied and researched trade cities across the world and came together in small groups to present different regions around the globe. Each group traded with each other things like language, religion, and etc. What are you watching now was B-roll from the event.
Wow, good job, sophomores.
Before we wrap up the show, we have a few last-minute reminders. The ACT late registration deadline for October is Friday. Make sure to sign up if you plan on taking it. Also, bring your laptops to advisory tomorrow to complete a survey.
Well, that's all we have for you today. I'm Megan.
I'm Karen.
And I'm Bailey. Thanks for joining us today, Karen. Have a great rest of the week, Barstow.
It's cold.